All right. So, good evening, everyone. It's I like this time of the day. 7:30 is usually when trainings for colleges happen, or I finish off my work and my work with clients, and then I sit back and do my own work. So this is the time of the day that I typically like. And with my clients, I don't encourage calls after 7 o'clock. Right? They are more than happy to send me emails whenever they want, but I don't appreciate people calling me. Like, I have always maintained a simple philosophy that if something was urgent enough, then you could have definitely told me before 6 o'clock. Nothing is that urgent that it has to be informed over a call after 7 o'clock, right? So I've always made sure not to do that. And I've had a good day because I had trainings with I had a 3 hour session with D Shaw in the morning. Then I had a 3 hour session with Adani that just got over at 7. So my mind is still, a little um, lost with everything that D Shaw and Adani were doing, because it's very interesting, since you have the same training, both the trainings were on Power BI. But how a D Shaw works on Power BI is so different to how an Adani works on Power BI. And not merely about the skill level or the industry. There's a lot more that goes into it. It's an organization culture, right? So what is the data culture that they have and the sort of questions they're asking? It's very interesting. Not to say that one is necessarily better than the other one, but that's just the nature of things. Okay, so I have already met you for the session that happened, but so I'm not going to give my introduction again. If you are interested, you can go through my website later, havishramconsulting.com, and everything you need to know can be found here or on my LinkedIn profile, right? So I don't want to get into this right now. In terms of the outline that we have Excel and SQL, we have Power BI, Tableau, and PowerPoint. Now, on paper, we have written this as 4 plus 5 plus 2 plus 1. We might tweak that a little bit as we feel appropriate going forward. For example, PowerPoint can even be covered in 45 minutes, even though I would like to have an hour with me, but maybe 45 minutes we can do. Tableau, again, we can finish a little faster because the focus is on Power BI here. So we will see as we go along. If we feel that we are able to finish off topics a little quicker, then we can maybe focus our energies on something different. The session is being recorded. The Teachable ID has been shared with everyone. So the way this will work is that after the session is over today, in about an hour, so at about 10:30, you will have access to the video on the Teachable account, right? There is already a course called, if I can just quickly show you, there is already a course here called IMI September. Obviously, right now there is nothing in it, right? But the moment I don't know why it says SRCC here, I'll have to change that. So the moment the lecture is over, within an hour, the lecture will get updated here. So we're going to start with Excel, and we're going to focus on Excel for a bit. So definitely today we are going to do Excel, and we are going to start with Power BI after that, because it's a natural continuity to move from Excel to Power BI. A lot of commonalities there between Power Query and Power Pivot. SQL will be covered, not by me. So I will have another instructor who will be doing this for you. His name is Anubhav Chaturvedi. Anubhav is working as an enterprise architect with ABB Hitachi right now. And Anubhav is one of India's leading blockchain experts. He's a full stack developer. And young guy, he's 26, but he's brilliant at what he does. And he has handled a bunch of different projects for Reliance Jio, United Nations, right? You can go through his profile on LinkedIn as well. So he's a colleague and a very dear friend of mine. Right. So he's a colleague and a very dear friend of mine. Definitely somebody who I would like all of you to meet. There are certain areas where both of us work, but then he's more of a tech guy. I'm more of a data analyst, right? Excellent. I think we can start with the training right away. Uh, we don't need to chit chat. If there's anything you would like to ask me right now, you can, and then we will continue.
So you can go on.
All good? All right. So what we're going to start with is an Excel example, but we are not going to do this on Excel on your desktop. The reason is that I'm not sure which version of Excel all of you are working on. So some of you might be on 13, 16, 19, 21, Microsoft Office 365. So to maintain uniformity and to ensure that we all have the latest features with us, we are going to work on office.com. Right? So I will do the same thing, open office.com, everyone. If you do not have an account, you can quickly create an account with your personal email ID as well. You don't need to pay for it. It's a free account.
Sir, if we have 365, so can we use that instead of it?
You can try, but then I don't know which, because even 365 has different versions in it. So which one do you have? How updated is it? Whether that is guaranteed to have all the latest features or not, I don't know. To be very sure that you do have everything with you, the online version is the best bet. But if you want to try it on 365, I'm okay with that. But then there is always a possibility that we are working on something and you don't have that option with you, right? So I'll leave that up to you.
Okay, sir.
So I'm going to sign in with my free account, not with my paid account here. And once you do that, this is the interface that will open up. Let me know if anybody has any trouble reaching this point. Right? And we want to start with a quick warm-up of Excel. Now, I don't want to discuss silly things like how to write formulas and how do cells and rows and columns work. I'm assuming that all of you already have had a course in college, right? That covers that. So we're going to look at an intermediate level problem. I would not say a very advanced problem, at an intermediate level, but we will look at a few new features that have been introduced in Excel. So we're working on 002. And what I would like you to do is to simply drag the file into the window, right? Like this. And when you do that, it should open up like this. We are working on the second last sheet, which is F. Right? Okay. So
Sorry, sir, I missed it. But which file is this from the folder?
this is in the Excel folder 002. right? So what we're doing here is we have a list of customer names with us. We have the target and the achievement. We have the remark for the product A goal and the product B goal. And then we have the date of joining. So we want to assess whether the person will get an incentive or not get an incentive. And for the person to get an incentive, these three conditions have to be met. So number one, the person should have been with the company for at least 2 years, or rather more than 2 years. The achievement has to be more than 100%. So 100% doesn't cut it. It has to be more than 100. And then finally, either of the product goals has to be met. So we're giving a choice here that either product A or product B should be met. If both of them are there, wonderful, but at least one of them has to be there. So tell me, according to the three conditions that we have kept, will Aaron get an incentive or not? Just go through the sixth row and tell me whether Aaron gets an incentive or not.
Yes.
He does, right? So Aaron is meeting all the conditions, has been with the organization for more than 2 years. Product A is met and the achievement is clearly higher than 100%. Okay, what about Toby? Toby is our oldest customer. He has been around since 2017.
No, we're not.
Oh,
Right? So the
No.
achievement is bang 100%, but that is not what we need. We need something more than that. So we know the answers we want. The question is, how are we going to go about it? So anyone, you have learned basic Excel, right? You know how to write if formulas. So how do we do this?
So we can use AND function and then add nested ifs in that.
Okay. But why do you say that we need a nested if? How many results are possible? How many possible results are there in this entire example that we take? Only two?
Two
And
results.
when I write if, how many results can an if statement give me? Two. So why do we need a nested if? Because if there are only two possible results, no matter how complex those logical tests are, the results are only two, right? If there are only two results, then we only need one if statement. We don't need more than that. Right? Okay, the first thing we are going to do is we are going to look at Excel like a programming language, which means that rather than randomly and arbitrarily selecting E6 and D6, it doesn't make any sense, right? Like, what is C6? If I select C6 and I don't show you the data, is it descriptive? Is it telling me what is the value in C6? I don't know that. What if I accidentally selected D6? Will I even know that I made a mistake? I wouldn't. So now with Microsoft Office 365, we have something called let. So that's a very complex explanation that they have given, but in a simple way, let is a variable declaration. What that means is that, let's take a simple example. If I say, what is my achievement percentage? I will write achievement divided by target, right? And that tells me 154%. Fair enough. Let me convert this into a percentage as well. Now the question here is that, one moment. My screen just froze. Hold on. All right. So let me convert this into a percentage. Perfect. So it says D6 by C6, and that is the problem with Excel, right? Because in absence of the input being visually available to you, it doesn't mean anything. How do you even verify whether you have done the correct thing or not? Fair enough. Now with let, what I can do is that I can say, you know what? Let me first give a name to my value. So I'm giving a name. I'm saying my target is D6. Then I will say that my achievement is, or let me do it the other way around. So we say achievement is D6, target is C6. And then I can write my formula. I can say that my final result is nothing but my achievement divided by target. So what do you think? Do you think this is better than the earlier way of writing the formula?
Definitely.
Definitely, right? Now, at first glance, a lot of clients say, but isn't this longer? Of course, it is longer because you have to define all your variables, all your inputs. But then it makes so much more sense because this is descriptive. Even in absence of the inputs, I know that, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. If somebody who's consuming the data, somebody who's understanding the formula, I don't tell them how the formula works. They know what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to divide my achievement with the numerator, and the denominator is my target. So using the same logic, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to build my entire formula. So first let, and I will give a name to everything that we have. So we'll say that my target is equal to C6. My achievement is equal to T6. Then I will say that my product A, so I'll just call it prod A, is equal to E6. Then my prod B is equal to F6. And finally, we will say that our date of joining, so I'll just call it DOJ, is equal to G6. The moment we have done this, now I can come to the next line and I can build my formula like we always do. So now I'll say if. Now the thing is that in if we only have one option to give the logical test, but we have three of them, right? There are three conditions. So we have to put an and because I want to put more than one. How many of these arguments do you think we can put in and? Just out of curiosity. Just guess how many do you think there are there?
Indefinite.
Okay, so it's not indefinite, it is 255. Right? Now, why is it 255 and why is it not 250? There's no reason for it. It's just that that is a hard limit. But you can always put an and within another and that basically makes it infinite. Right? Okay, so let me expand this and continue my formula. So we will say that the first thing we want to do is to check for the achievement. So we will say that my achievement divided by target, right, has to be greater than 1 or 100%. You can write it either way. Then my second condition is there is a choice between product A and product B. So we'll say or, and there is a choice here. So here we say that there's a choice between product A, either product A. Okay, something went wrong, just a moment. So we say and we say that my D6 divided by C6 is greater than 100%. All right. All right. Then we say that product A is, sorry, why is it giving me an issue? Just a moment. Is this something I'm not doing properly? Okay, doesn't matter. Let's give it a shot. Is equal to Y. And we also say that or my product B is equal to Y. Right? And now we say that if we'll add the third condition a little later, but we say that if these three conditions are met, then what should happen? So if these three conditions are met, then I want some result to come. Right? And my result will be that the person gets an incentive or the person gets no incentive. Right? And it's giving me some error. Let me quickly check that. We need one more parentheses. Hold on. Let me copy it down to first ensure that everything is working correctly. And right. But we need to add the third condition as well. So for the third condition, we use a function called year frac. Year frac basically tells you the difference between two dates. So when I say year frac, it tells me what is the difference between a starting date and an end date. So what is my starting date? That would be the date of joining. And what is my end date? My end date would be today. And we say that, is this greater than 2, like this. Right. So this is how we are writing our three results. Let me increase the font size as well.
How are we reading that logical operators if and together?
So what we say is that, let me just take a screenshot here. All right, so what we are saying here is that there are three paths inside the AND, right? What we have here. So there are three conditions that have to be met, and all the three have to be met. So it doesn't matter if two are met very well and one of them is not met at all. all the three have to be true, true, and true. But in the case of the second one, there is a choice. For example, when you submit an address proof to a bank, they give you a choice, right? That it can be the Aadhaar, passport, PAN card, whatever it is. That is what we're doing. We're saying that either of them have to be yes, but then the first has to be mandatorily met, the third has to be mandatorily met, and all the three have to be true, true, and true. Only if all these three come as a true, then the result comes as incentive, otherwise it comes as no incentive.
Sir, I don't get the necessity of defining target and achievement.
Sure. I actually didn't do that. Let me write it that way. I also forgot to write it that way. So it should actually be like this. See, those of you who come from a computer science background, this will be like home, right? Because this is how we work with programming, right? We have to define variables. Those of you who do not come from a CS background, it might be a little odd at the beginning because you might be wondering, why don't we just do it the old-fashioned way? But just think about it. Not a lot of people are using it. One, because the let is not available on other versions of Excel. Also, it's very, very new. So even those organizations that do have it haven't got used to using it, right? But then it will take a few years to catch up. But then if something is the better way of working, you should definitely use it. It doesn't matter if other people use it or not.
So we won't close the let function.
We have, right? This last parentheses that is there, this one.
Okay. So, but like, can't we write this two functions separately, like let and then if and?
No. So the way the let works is that the scope of the variables that you have declared is within the formula. So this name called target, which is for C6, I can't use the name anywhere else. I can only use it within the single cell with the formula in it, right? So only this cell, the one that has a formula in it, I can define a name called target, because in the next cell, target has been given as a name to another cell, to C7.
Yes.
Another reason you might not like the way it looks right now is because the colors are not there. But if I can just copy the formula, everyone, into my regular Excel, right? Not Excel online, you will see that here the parentheses have a color to it. Let me explain what I mean by that. Same data. Let me put it here. And let me take a screenshot, right? You see the difference, right? The subtle difference here is that now you get these colors here. So black is the let. The purple is my and. The red is my if. And the green is my or. But unfortunately, in Excel Online, the parentheses don't have colors to it. That's the reason why here you only have a black color for the parentheses, which is a little, unfortunate, but that's just how it is.
And so how do you write the formula in multiple columns?
Alt enter, right?
Alt
So
enter.
correct. Alt plus enter breaks the formula into multiple lines. Right? And spaces have no significance, but it improves the readability. Right? So all these spaces that you see, the tab, the space here, it has no relevance whatsoever, but spaces improve the readability. The worst thing you would want to do is to write all of this in a single line. Never do that.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, it's displaying error.
Yeah, so unfortunately, if you have an error, there is no way to figure out why that error happened. You will have to go through the entire formula closely and see if you can spot it. If you can share your screen, I'll help you.
Yeah, sure, sir.
All right. Name means that, oh yeah. So like I said, you are working on Excel desktop, right? But you don't have the let function with you. That's why.
Okay, sir.
Can you just press escape once? Just press escape and write equal to let. Equal to let.
So I have to remove all.
Just go to any other cell. Let this be here. Just go to any other cell. Yeah, just write equal to let. Yeah, you don't have the function.
Oh,
right?
it's not there.
Right. That's
Okay,
fine.
sir. Okay, so how to go there?
Oh, we are working online, right? Did you miss out on that part? So we have come to office.com, right?
Okay, sir.
And on office.com, you simply have to drag and drop the file. That's it. Right? Online, you'll
Okay,
be
sir.
able to use all these features. All good. I'll also share the formula on the chat in case you want to have a look at that.
So shouldn't it be ACH by TGT?
Sure. The results are not really important. It's the did it in a hurry. No? Yeah. Right. Any other question on this? Okay.
Excuse me.
Maybe.
Yeah, I have a small doubt. So in online, while I'm using it, I'm also getting an error, but it's not saying what exactly the error is. So is
It
there any
won't.
way? It
Yeah,
won't, right?
there's no way. So if you're getting an
Okay.
error, it could be the smallest, the silliest of things. Maybe you forgot a comma or
Comma,
a
yeah.
parentheses. It could be anything. But Excel has absolutely no distinction between the type of error. So if there's an error, there's an error. It will not even attempt to tell you what type of error it is. I mean, in a few cases it does. Like if the function itself is not there, then it gives you a name error. But mostly you're on your own. You can share your screen. I'll be happy to have a look at it.
Yeah, okay, no issues. I'm figuring out myself. Right.
Sure. But you know what? I don't want to spend too much time on it because there's a lot more to be covered. And again, writing the formula honestly is overrated. It is the understanding that is more important. Like a programmer, 99% of the work that we do is actually searching on the internet and copying and pasting stuff, right? To an extent, that is true for Excel as well. Like today, if you ask me that, Havish, you do all this work on Excel, do you really do everything from scratch every day? Of course not. I have so much already with me that I can just reuse different parts of formulas that I've already written, right? So like I said, the ability to search for the correct answer is the skill. Writing the formula also, obviously you need to know the basics, but then don't worry too much about it. That will naturally come over a period of time, right? So I will only want to spend 1 more minute on it, please. After this, we want to move to another example.
Sir, can you double click on the incentive or any? So how, when I double click on the incentive box, it doesn't show indented. It shows in the same line.
I don't follow. Just say that once again.
So when whenever I double click on the incentive, so right now in your, it is coming indented and organized, right? You
I
have
don't know, share
multiple
your screen.
spaces and
Let's-
all. I hope you are able to see my screen.
I can. Just
Yeah, sir. So in mine, it is not coming indented. It is coming in a single line.
I don't know. Did you put the alt enter when you were writing the form?
So I copy pasted from
No,
yours.
that
Maybe
would not help. Yeah, just increase the width of column I. I want to see something. Column I, right? Just make it like
Yes, sir.
3 times the size, right? A little more. Right now, just double click on the cell. Yeah, so it hasn't come properly, you know. So I'll tell you what to do. Come before if.
here. Yes,
Alt
sir.
enter. Press Alt enter.
I'm pressing Alt enter. Wait, let me use side.
Right?
Sir,
So that's how
actually,
you
I
make.
faced the same problem.
That's
the,
okay.
The other alt works, not the like there are two alts in the
Left alt.
keyboard.
Or never the right
Left alt enter.
only the left alt. Right?
Yes, sir. So I am able to indent the.
That's it. That's what we did, right?
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Excellent.
That's all right.
Move back. All right, let's do one more example. Tell me, have you all done SUMIF and COUNTIF already?
Yes, sir.
You have, right? Okay, so let's do something one step beyond that, right? Come to the SUMIF COUNTIF sheet. Let's see how much you have learned. What we have with us is a very simple data set with 100 records in it. And what we have is 5 markets. So we have United States, Canada, Asia Pacific, Latin America, Europe, and Africa, right? What I would like to do is to get a list of the unique markets. How do we do that? How do I get a list of the unique markets?
Unique function.
Advanced filter.
No. We want to do it using a formula, right? Because if you use
Unique.
advanced filter and all, that would not really help. So we write equal to unique, right? And that is there are 5 markets here. Right? I'll also write the formula at the bottom in case you want to have a look at that. Right? Okay. Now tell me, how do I find the total sales for each of these markets? What do we write?
SUMIF.
Okay, SUMIF. Then what? What is the range? Which column has a list of all the markets in it?
F4 to F103.
No. Never select the data. Always select the entire column. It's much easier, right? Because in the future, you might be adding some more rows there. Okay, what is the criteria? I'm sorry.
Market.
Tell me the cell. Which cell is the criteria? Right now,
L4.
which market do we want to find the sales for?
For L4.
But hold on. Only L4? Don't I want to find the total sales for all the markets? So I will use something which is a different character. And this has come to Excel only last year, right? Because these 5 results are a dynamic array. I only wrote a single formula, unique, and it gave me 5 results. We want to write a hash like this. And the hash will automatically understand that because Havish had written one formula that gave 5 results, it will automatically select all the 5. So now when I complete it, JJ, I don't have to copy paste my formula. It will automatically give me 5 results. Don't worry if you have never seen it earlier. Like I said, dynamic arrays were introduced in Excel in 2018. And only now, slowly, it has started to appear on people's systems and people have started to work on it, right? So this is a new character. Earlier, the hash wasn't there, right? Let me write the formula here. And needless to say, it is dynamic. So tomorrow when I have 3 more markets, I'm just writing ABC here. You notice that my list expands automatically. I don't have to, again, find the list of unique and I don't have to copy and paste the formula. it expands automatically, as you can see, which is very cool. What would have been the other way of getting this result if not using a formula?
Macros.
No. Something simpler than that. Pivot table, right?
Pivot
A pivot
table.
table would also work. But why not a pivot table? A pivot table is manual. You have to select the data, create a new sheet. Then the pivot table cannot be connected to other formulas. So there are a lot of challenges with pivot. Pivots are great for a one-time analysis, but if you want to, do something which is dynamic by nature, this is the correct way to go about it.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, what is L4 hash signifies?
See, how many formulas have I written in column L? There is only one formula, right? And how many results is it giving you? It is giving you 5 results. So how do I tell Excel that I want to select all these 5 results? Because I only know where the first one is, right? I don't know whether there are 5 or 3 or 2 or 20. So that is where the hash comes in. The hash says that hash will pick up till the last item in the array.
Yes, sir.
Make sense?
Yeah, it's this just like L4 is to L8. Can we write instead of this?
If you wanted to write L4 colon L8,
Both are same.
that can
Ultimately,
also
both are
work.
same.
But then you see the problem, right? Tomorrow when there's another market that comes in, this formula is not going to get copied across. And you want to automate that. That's the reason we are putting a hash. Because we know that my formula is in L4, but I don't know how many items are there. If I knew that there were 3 items, sure, you could have selected L4, L6. But because you want it to be dynamic, that's why we are doing this.
What is, sir?
Sir,
Yes,
in,
sir.
Tell me.
okay, you go
Sir,
ahead.
okay. Sir, in unique, why did you not select the whole column?
Yeah, so we can't do that. The problem is that in unique, if you select the entire column, 2 additional things are going to get picked up. One is the heading and the other is the 0 value, right? Like this. So these 2 values are going to get picked up. That's the problem.
Okay, sir.
I mean, there are
So
ways
all
you
values
can.
are.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, all values are showing 0.
I'm sorry, what values are showing 0? Here you mean?
Sir, all USCA to Latam. Total sales 0.
No, that is okay because right now it's telling me 0 is 0 only. No? All the blank cells don't have a sales value. Market doesn't have a sales value. That's why. Ignore that for now. Just focus on this, right? So this is the problem with selecting unique with the entire thing, right? I'm not sure if we can do something about it. Let me just check once. So maybe if we write, I don't know, I haven't tried this. Yeah, so maybe what you can do is, this is also going to get quite complex. Hold on. See, this is just illustrative. What I'm showing you right now, let me go back first, let me do it in a different column. So it doesn't mess around with what we're doing right now. This is more of a academic problem, something you do at a competition. I don't think there is a lot of practical significance to this, but let me still show you, right? It's quite challenging. So if I say unique, the problem is it gives me that 0 and that market as well, right? So what we would like to do here is, I would like to say that, let me count. So it will tell me that the count is 7, right? But from the 7, I want to exclude the first 2 values. So we will say that I only want to take an index. So I only want to take the 3rd till the 7th value, right? Like that. So if I could just move it a little to the right, so you can all see this. So we will say that index and unique of column F, right? And which row number do we want here? We want 3 to 7, right? 3 we know is 3. So we will probably write 3 to 7. I don't know, let's give it a shot. If that doesn't work, no problem. Let me see if there's some other way of doing this. Hold on. Wait. This we don't need. Seems okay to me. So we have an index. Once again, indirect is closed. Then I have my row has been closed as well. Then I have my one more. Yeah. Like I said, it's possible. Should you do it? Not really. It's not worth the effort. See, there is always a trade-off between the solution and the complexity, right? To be able to create everything inside a single formula might seem very attractive. You might say, oh, this is fantastic because I don't have to do it in multiple steps. But then really, you're going to spend so much time writing this, then you have to explain it to other people. Not really worth the effort. But I just wanted to show you that when we actually do modeling, right? Like I teach at Big Fours and D Shaw. So in financial modeling, especially, this is very important because you want to optimize as much as possible. There is another reason for optimization. See, the problem is that Excel is consuming a little bit of RAM right now. Like right now, I'm not using Excel, right? I'm working online. So it's taking about 135 MB. We usually don't pay attention to these things, but the problem is financial models are really bloated. There are thousands of calculations happening there. Plus, you might have some VBA codes running on top of it. The issue is that the moment you cross 3 GB RAM utilization, it becomes an issue because like I have 16 GB of RAM and 8 GB of video RAM on my laptop, but it doesn't matter because Excel cannot utilize more than that. So the problem is that it throttles it. And that's why Excel crashes when you work on very large complex models. That is the reason why using something like this might be a good thing because it will optimize your formulas. It will make your formulas run faster. But then should you do it all the time? Not really, right? So I'm keeping it there. If you want to go back and go through it, I'm okay with that. But then don't focus on this too much. If you want to go back and deconstruct this, I'm okay with it, but I'm not going to get into the explanation right now, okay? Anything on this that you would like to ask on column L and column M, anyone?
Yes, sir. Can I share my screen once I'm not able to?
Sure. Right. What are we looking at?
Type the formula.
This seems okay. What have you written in L5? Can you just show me once?
L5 is
Strange. Seems okay. Just show me the other formula then.
So which one?
The one in the column M.
Yes.
You've said sum f of column F. You're doing an L5 hash, and then you're doing JJ. Yeah, but the problem is that just go to any other cell, right? Equal to L5 hash. L5 hash. Yeah, that doesn't seem to be working for you, right? Have you signed in with your personal account or with your college account?
So personal account. Not with the college account.
Okay. I don't know why it's not working. Because if you have the unique function with you, then the hash should also work. But it clearly doesn't. Just press enter once. Yeah, it's not able to pick it up. I'm not really sure why. Never seen this earlier. I don't think you are doing anything incorrectly. Everything seems to be okay. I don't know. Maybe just,
yeah. I also had the same problem. The point, actually, what I did is in the first column, the USCA, the formula should be there. The formula is not there. The formula starts from the market, I think. It's there, right?
Oh, yeah. Don't do that, please. Correct. You have selected from F3. It should be F4. I did not notice that.
Okay. F4 should be there.
Yeah, we don't need the heading, right? Four to 103, correct.
That's
right.
Done, sir. Thank you, sir.
Excellent. Let me share my screen again. All right, so we have done let, we have done the if statement with a few other things in it, and or your flag. And we have done the use of unique, which is a dynamic array, along with the hash, right? The hash basically selects to the last value, right? Okay, let's close this file. We want to do something different now. So I'm going to come back to the home. Let me also make sure that I send these files to you in case you want to have a look at it later. Right? Okay, let's come back to Office. Okay, let us step up the difficulty a little bit. So let's come to 009. 009. All right, and we will obviously not be able to do every single example, but we'll try to do a few of them, right? So I first want to take the very first sheet, how arrays work, right? So tell me, what do we do here? If I want to multiply 214 with all of these percentages, how do we do that? Equal to what?
We'll fix the column.
Absolutely not. We will simply say E7 multiplied by F7, F90. That's it. Please try this with me, everyone, at the same time. No dollar sign required. If you want to put it, you can, but that would not really make any difference, right? So if you have a choice not to put the dollar, why would you? E7 multiplied by F7, F90. So what is happening here? It is smartly multiplying 214 one by one with every single value. Okay. Now, you might also say, but how? Like, how does Excel know that it is supposed to do that? It just does, right? It's smart enough to understand that if I only have one item being multiplied by all the other items, 13 items, it knows that that one item has to be multiplied by all the others. But what will happen in a case where there are multiple items in both the columns? So if I say J7, J19 multiplied by K7, K19, what will happen now, everyone?
So will it start to multiply 214 into 9%?
14 into 9%, 476 into 2%. Exactly. So now it is smart enough to understand that, okay, now that I have given it 13 values and 13 corresponding profit margin, it is multiplying like this. First with first, second with second, third with third.
Sir, I'm facing some issue with the file. Can you screen share?
Yeah.
Not able to edit it.
I'm sorry, what does it mean not able to edit it?
Like one option came open, edit enable. Like I'm not able to put value.
But why are you doing this on Excel desktop? I would like it to work online, right? because in any case, you might not have the feature with you on Excel desktop. I don't know. In any case, I will have to see the error to be able to tell you how to resolve it. So can you just reopen it? Yeah. So you're opening it directly from the zip folder. You have to unzip it first.
Okay.
That's fine. Right. So please make sure to unzip it. Great. Any questions so far? Anyone on this? Let me share my screen
Will you
again.
please explain once more this one?
Which part?
The second part.
This one?
Yes.
See, how many sales values do we have? We have 13 of them, right? And how many profit margins do we have? We have 13 of them.
13.
So when I'm giving 13 into 13, it's literally multiplying the first with the first, second with the second, third with the third. That means that even if these profit margins were here, it would still work. It doesn't matter whether they are together, adjacent or not. The number of items have to match with each other. That makes sense, right? So this means that my profit margin could also have been on a different sheet or on a different workbook. As long as the number of items are matching, it will give me the result. But the moment you say, I want to multiply J7, J19 with K12, K23, can you tell me what will happen? If you're multiplying 13 sales values with only 12 profit margin, what will happen?
The last one will come 0.
It will come as an error, not as a 0, but as an error, because I have nothing to multiply 456 with, right? So that is a mistake on our part. So we have to make sure that the number of items are exactly the same. So if there are 13 here, they have to be 13 here as well.
Sir, can we edit the formula in a way that, like in the sales, 456 was missing, and we wanted 5% to be multiplied by 215 again, like the last percentage.
No, that all is going to be very complex. You said you want a 5% here on, but what logic? Why would it be 5%?
No, sir. Like in that it was 5%. I'm saying that if say the last sales option is that value is missing 456.
Okay.
And I want that the last column should be the last cell should be multiplied with 215 again.
I still don't follow. Which value should be multiplied with what? Tell me once again.
Sir, first let's say delete 456.
Okay.
And I want here in K19 should be multiplied by J18. Everything remains the same, but this should happen.
So then what will happen to this 9% then?
Sir, I'm just asking that can we edit this formula in a way that it only takes, like we did in the previous case, that it only does it to the last value. If you are.
No, I'm not able to follow. So right now we have 12 sales values and we have 13 profit margins, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So 9% should be multiplied with what?
Sir,
So Shashwat is saying that last time we did we were taking till K18 and last value we were getting NA.
Okay.
Right. So this time he's saying if we delete the last cell of sales, can it be multiplied with the previous one? Profit margin column. Can it be multiplied with the previous one if last one is not available?
Yes, sir. Something like that.
What should be multiplied with what? That's what I'm saying.
So 5%, last 5% should be multiplied with the sales last, that is 215.
J18 into K19.
Why would J18 be multiplied? I don't follow. Why would J18 be multiplied?
Sir, I'm asking, can we edit the formula in a way that it happens every time? Instead of giving an error, it just takes the last value. Because if
Oh, you mean to say that this value should not be shown at all? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, sir.
So don't say that J18 should be multiplied by K19. What you mean to say is that if the value isn't there, then you want to show a blank, right?
So I meant to say like this should come as again that percent. I mean, that's hard to explain. I think I.
No, if you will become
Sir,
a consultant after a year, how will you explain? You have to figure out.
Sir, write 5% instead of 5%. Write some other percent in the profit margin under last column. Yes. So he is saying that if one of the cell is missing from the sales column,
okay,
then it will be multiplying one by one, right? 214 with 9 and 476, right?
Correct.
So when the time will come for 6%, will multiply with the last blank, which is right now blank.
Okay.
So it should be multiplied with 215. Can that be happen? He's asking. Is there any way we can make that possible?
So if there is a missing value, then you have to fill up that missing value somehow. So for example, hold on. Let's say that there was a missing value somewhere, right? Now, if you want this value to be 110, my question is on what logic? Why are you filling that missing value and replacing that with 110? There has to be some reasoning behind it. No? So if you want to fill it with 110, that is manual. You will have to press Control. Actually, that will not even work here in Excel Online. That can only be done in Excel Desktop. There is an option for a fill down, right? Which will fill up the missing value with the previous value. A formula will never do such things. A formula can't fill up missing values, right? This is manual data transformation that you will have.
Okay, sir.
Right. Great. Let's just wrap up this example with one more. Now, this time it's a little tricky because we have 3 sales values and 3 profit margin, but it is in a grid format. So Excel is again very smart. Now, when you multiply 214, 476, 372 with 3 percentages, it is going to create an entire grid for you like this. So that is essentially row 1 into column 1, row 1 into column 2, row 1 into column 3, row 2 into column 1, and so on and so forth. Otherwise, this would be a quite difficult problem because you'll have to put dollar signs and all if you wanted to do this. But now it has become much, much simpler using a single formula.
Sir, it can be applied to any matrix of any numbers of row and column.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sir, which function did you told to fill up values in Excel?
I can only there's no function for it. There is a feature that does that. So if you want to fill up missing values, for example, I first need a data set, right, to explain that to you. Hold on. Let me show you a data set here. So many times when you work with any ERP or any CRM like SAP, for example, you might get a data set like this, right? Now, this is a problem because as a person, I can figure out what this means, right? We know that these 4 subcategories are mapped with furniture. These 9 are mapped with office supplies and these 4 are mapped with technology. But then Excel doesn't understand that because Excel feels that these are mapped with a blank value. So if you want these values to be filled, what you will have to do is you will have to select the complete data. This is all manual, right? You select it, you press Control G, G for go to, and you click on special. What type of special cells do we want to select? We only want to select blank cells. So right now there were not so many of them, right? We only had 14 blank cells, but it is possible there were more blank cells. When these blank cells are selected, then you have to put equal to, select the first cell and press Control Enter like this. This is the only way of filling up all these values. There are other ways as well, but this is the most efficient way of filling up all the blank values. This is a very classic problem. I've been teaching this at organizations for the last 7-8 years now, right? Everybody at PwC, EY has this problem where they have to fill up the blank values because a lot of systems will give you the data in this format. Power BI has one click. There is a function in Power BI called table.filldown, right? We'll be covering it later, but I just want to tell you what it is. It's called table.filldown. It's a special function which allows you to fill up values like the way I showed you just now. Right? It's literally called table dot fill down. That's all. Right? But Excel doesn't have anything like that. I don't think this would even be possible using a formula. Let me think. I don't know. I mean, maybe some long convoluted formula for this, but yeah, maybe it is not even possible. Even if it is, it's going to be completely impractical to do that, right? All right, great. Let's come back. Anything on this, anyone? So we have done how to multiply one cell with a bunch of cells, how to multiply a column with an adjacent column, and how to multiply a column with a row to create a matrix or a grid of values, right? So this was the learning. Now let's put it into practice. Let's do some practical problems, right? So I want to come to one of the more difficult ones. Hold on. Okay. Let me explain to you first what we are doing here. Then you tell me what is the relevance, like which type of industries do you feel can benefit from something like this? What I have in column B is a list of customer IDs and customer name. These are customers who have purchased in the last month, right? July. Then I have my old purchases, which are customers who purchased in the month of Jan to June, right? As a business, what would I like to know? I would like to know my acquisition, right? I would like to know who are the new customers who I have managed to gain in the last month. Like you've seen that Cred ad, right? Just making all sorts of noise right now. The one that says download Cred. Now, Cred has obviously been advertising for a while, but when they do a campaign and they're spending many crores on it, they want to measure the acquisition, right? We call it the CAC, the customer acquisition cost. So when you're measuring the CAC, they would like to know that did we manage to acquire any new customers? Like I have been with Cred ever since the beginning. So I'm not really a new customer for Cred, but they would like to know who are the new customers. So did that campaign lead to a positive ROI on it? Fair enough. So tell me, how do I know that in the month of July, let's say there was a campaign in the month of July, which led to more customers purchasing from me? How do I know who are the new customers who are acquired? Can you tell me what type of businesses can benefit from something like this type of analysis? New customers?
Direct to consumer.
Sure, but why not a traditional FMCG company? That way, every organization would want to use this, right? But typically, this is a classic. See, an FMCG company doesn't really care about whether the customers became 1,000 or 1,200 or 12. For them, the top line is more important. This is more impactful from an app perspective. So anything to do with applications, right? So if it's a mobile app, this is really important because every new customer is going to get you some revenue, right? So that is what you have to show to your investors, that I managed to increase my customer base and active users and all of that. So Swiggy will be very interested to see something like this. I have done this for Zomato long back. When I say long back, I'm talking about 2016, right? So we used to do this type of analysis for them. Is the question clear? Any issues with the question, anyone, before we come to the answer? Great. So tell me, how do we do this? I don't need the answer. Just give me a broad approach. How would you go about it if you want to find who are the new customers? Let me also highlight it so that at least we can visually know whether we're getting the correct answer or not. So Darren, Felina, if you look at Felina is a new customer. She wasn't there in this data. Then Mick is a new customer. Lycoris is there. Jack is new. Maria is new. Vivek is new. Melanie is there. Anthony is new. Seth has been there. Chris has been there. Natalie has been there. And Brian is there, right? The ones that are in bold are the new customers that we have, right? So how do we go about it? It's okay, even if you give the wrong answer, that's okay. What are you thinking of? Which type of function?
So they can compare both the columns.
You're telling me the approach, but that doesn't help me. You have to think of the function we can use in Excel. I understand we have to compare it. Completely agree. But then what function do you think would be? Okay, let me put it this way. Will you use a SUMIF to solve this? Of course not. Will you use a a sum function or an average or a subtotal to solve this? Of course not.
Can
So
we use
we
a
can go
lookup?
across.
Count function and lookup in
Perhaps,
function.
perhaps. So maybe a count is a good idea because a count tells me how many times is the person appearing. But more importantly, the first thing that should come to your mind is a lookup, because you have to look up a value, right? So what we will do is, this is a little complex, so please work with me. Understand what I'm doing. Don't write the formula right now. I'll give you enough time to do this. Just understand how I'm doing this. I'm writing VLOOKUP. I'm just searching for a very simple thing. I'm saying, search for Darren, the entire historical data, column number 1 and an exact match. Tell me what will be the result. If I search for Darren in the old data, what will be the result? You've all learned VLOOKUP, right? So what will be the result?
So it will check that.
Again, you're explaining to me what it will do. I know what it will do. You tell me what will be the result. Is Darren there in the original data? Yes or no?
Yeah, it's there.
It is there. So what will be the result? It will be the same name, isn't it? Because we only have one column, right? So the result can only be the same thing. It can't be anything different. Fair enough? Okay. Now, if I do the same thing with Felina, which is C8, what will happen? If I search for Felina in the old data, what will be the result? Is Felina there in my historical data? No, it will be an error. So far, so good. So why don't we be a little smart, and rather than searching for only Darren, I'm searching for all the people. Now tell me, what do you think the result will be? If I'm searching for the entire list of customers who have purchased in July with my older data, what will be the result that you get?
It will give old purchases data and error.
It will give me an array of values. Wherever the customer is existing in the old data, it will give me the actual name. Wherever it doesn't exist, it will give me a NA. So far, so good. Now tell me, which value are we more interested in? Are we interested in the values where the name is there, or the values where there is a NA?
NA.
It's interesting, no? Because usually we consider NA as a bad thing, something that is wrong or there is an error. But interestingly, in this case, the NA is a good thing, because the NA means that the person wasn't there earlier. The person is a new customer. So what should we do right now? I need to filter out all the NA values. So I need to convert the NA into true. So very smartly, I will say equal to not. Right? But the problem is, when you say not, it doesn't really work the way we want it, because not can only convert false into true and true into false. So how do I convert NA into a false here? I will say equal to is error. So when I say is error, what will happen? There is a false and a true. Can somebody tell me what is the false and what is the true here? What does the false signify?
That Darren is already named in the
There is no
customer name
error.
list.
There's no error.
False means any person already there is a false. Any new customer is a true. So what is the final step left? We just have to filter out all the true values. Everyone with me so far? And how do you filter out only the true values? The final step is, let me just remove the color from here once again. The final step is, we only want to filter out the true values. So I will say, let me filter my data. Which data do we want to filter? We want to filter this VLOOKUP data, right? And what do we want to include? We want to include wherever the value is true. That doesn't work. Hold on. So we have our is error. Okay. So let's filter. We need the names, right? So let's take our original name. So we need to filter C7, C19 on the basis of what? Wherever there is a true value, we want the value. Wherever there's a false, we don't want the value. So the result, everyone, is going to be like this. So what is it doing? As you can see, it is telling me that this is the extract from the data. These are the new customers that we have. Take your time, go through it. I will explain it one more time, but I won't write the formula. I will just explain it like this. So my VLOOKUP is giving me either an NA, so gives me the name, or it gives me NA, right? What does the if error do, or the is error do? The is error converts name into false and it converts the NA into true. Right? That's the second step. And the third and the final step is that in the filter, we are saying that only take the true values. Don't ever look at the entire formula in one go. If you look at the formula in one go, it seems complex. You don't even know where to start. Break it into 3 steps. First, we did the VLOOKUP. What did that give us? It gave us the name or NA. How did we convert the NA into true and the name into false? We used isError, right? And then once we get a list of true and false values, how did we filter out only the true values? We used a filter function. Okay. Just give me 1 minute, everyone. I'll just make a quick call. You look at this in the meantime. Yes, everyone.
The filter will pick up only true values, no?
Correct, correct, absolutely. Without, removing this, I just want to explain you with a simpler example how filter works, right? Sometimes that is a better approach. Before we circle back to that, I want to take a very simple example. I will say A is coming a few times, then B is coming a few times, and A is coming a few times. What I'm doing is I'm saying there are some numbers here as well. So I'm just writing some random numbers between 100 and 200, right? Okay. Now tell me, if I say equal to filter, we only want the values for A. Fair enough. So I will say, select the data. What do we want to include? We want to include wherever C3 to C12 is equal to A. Does this make sense? Simple enough, right? What we are saying is there are 2 paths to the filter. What are we trying to filter? Both the columns, C3 and C3 to D12. What is the inclusion criteria? On what basis do we want to filter it? Wherever column C has an A, we want to take that value. If it doesn't have an A, we don't want to take that value. So if I make it B, it will show me B. That's how filter works. Right? So I hope that makes a little more sense. Right. Anything else on this?
So, but the example you shown there, it was checking, equating with the one of the cell, right? The array equal to A.
No problem.
And
why don't I do it in 2 steps so that you understand better? If I say equal to C3, C12 equal to H2, what will happen?
it will check the whole array equal to B.
And what will be the result? It will check the whole array, but what will be the result? Will it be one result or multiple results?
Multiple.
It will be multiple results, isn't it? So now can I not say that I want to filter my data as per this list of true and false? The only difference is that this time I'm doing it in 2 steps. I first created a column with the true and false, and then I use that column in the include. But why do you have to do that? Can't you do that directly inside the filter? It's the same thing, no? Here, what happened? Going back to this, we got a list of, just give me a moment. Let me go through it one by one. So we got a list of names and errors, right? What did we change that into? We said that I want to change this using an is error, which means that I will get a list of true and false. So this list of true and false is what I need to filter for my column C. So will Darren come? No, because it is false. Will Philina come? Yes, because she is true, like this. Just corresponded one by one. See, this is not the sort of an example you're expected to understand in one sitting, right? If you feel that you have understood it completely, you haven't, right? It takes time to wrap your head around it and try and understand how this really works. But then when you work on Excel, especially in data analysis, this is what you're expected to do, right? And very seldom will you be told what combination of formulas to use, right? You will have to figure that out on your own. Like right now, very conveniently, I'm telling you, okay, let's do a VLOOKUP and then an is error and then a filter. You'll have to figure out all of this on your own. If somebody told you, okay, use these 5 functions, then your job is very easy, right? There are more than 600 functions in Excel. Knowing when to use which one is the key, right? If you know which formula to use, then what's the problem? Then all of us get it. Very smartly. Now what I can also do is I can say, for my existing customer, let me just change this to the existing customer. The only thing I need to change is, can anybody guess what do I need to change here for existing?
We'll remove is error.
Say that again.
So we'll remove is error.
No. Is error, if you remove, you will only get name and NA value. We need the true and false, but we need to reverse it. So we will say not. That makes sense? So this means that what names you have here are different to what you have here. So for example, let's say that, let's pick a name, right? Let's say Philina, who's right now a new customer, was already there in the previous data. You see how that shifted, right? That's all.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry, is error function as such is not showing.
It's not showing as in?
Like that I did in for let in desktop version of Excel.
But are you working
function is
online?
not? Yes, sir. I'm working online.
Hold on.
Sir, it's not showing in the formula bar, but when we double click it, we are able to see it. Like I'm able to see it.
It is available on, I'm sorry, what is error, right? I don't know.
Sir,
I mean,
if error is available.
No, if error is different, no, because in if error, you will have to give a value also as a result. So that has another argument in it if you use if error, value if error. We don't want to use that right now. Just share your screen. Let me see what the problem is. I'm confused. Open a parentheses, right? After you write is error, you have to open a parentheses.
What I have to do then? Is it after is error?
Open a parentheses, right? Your bracket. You have to open a bracket. Just remove everything. I'll tell you. Just remove everything. Right. Just first try the VLOOKUP. Right. So just select the values C7 to C19, right? Comma. Then select E7 to E12. Comma 1, comma false.
False.
Yeah. Because we're doing an exact match, so we're doing a false here. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now go back to the formula. Also, don't change the formula in the formula bar. That always gives some problem or the other. You should always change the formula directly in the cell, not in the formula bar. Yeah, now just come in the front before VLOOKUP. Before that is error. Open the bracket and then come to the end and see it's coming good.
Okay, sir. Yes.
See, these problems will actually not be there if you work on Excel desktop. Excel Online has these quirks in it. But because I can't show you these features on Excel desktop, that's why we're not doing it. Cool. Anything else on this, anyone? Remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Like, this is probably the most simple calculation you can do in customer analytics. There are so many other things that you have to do. Things like repeating customer cohort, the frequency of purchases, right? Customer clusters. So this is just literally like 101, right? In terms of what you have to learn. Cool. Anything else on this? Right. Let me see if there's something else we can do. I don't want to do the same thing again and again. No, I think we are good. I think we've covered quite a bit. So we've done the hash. I have told you the array formula. We have done unique. We have done filter. Yeah, I think we're good for now. I don't want to spend more time on this. This is there in the dynamic arrays course, which has been shared with you, which is my dynamic arrays course. This one, right? 1 hour course, 20 lectures. Everything that I showed you just now and more has been covered in this course, right? So if you're in marketing especially, definitely something you should look at, right? Finance also requires a lot of formulas, but this is more on the marketing side of things, right? Great. Let's do something different now. I will quickly come back and also check what we have planned as per the. Maybe we can do a chart now. We haven't done any charts, right? So let me show you how to make a dynamic chart. Just a moment. Yeah, I think we can look at a dynamic chart. Let's do that. This would be 005, everyone. This you don't need to do online. You can work on your local Excel, right? So you can just double click on the file and open it. You don't need to work online for this. Right? And we want to come to data 12. Data 12. Okay. The data as such is nothing special. We have 17 subcategories and we have the sales value. We want to see how to make a dynamic chart, right? Of course, in Power BI also we do a lot of visualizations, but that's something different. On Excel as well, there is a use case for learning how to create charts, and that is what we want to do. So the first thing I would like you to do is to write some formulas with me. Like the basic chart is like this. And there's nothing wrong with it. It shows you all the 17 subcategories. But then I don't have a baseline. I can't highlight the top values. Everything has to be done manually, right? So let's see how we can automate that. So please write these formulas with me. The first thing I want to do is write my baseline. What is the baseline? Could be any number that you want. So I'm just going to write my baseline here and say that my baseline is, let's say, 50,000, right? Let me also color it differently. And how do you get 50,000 in all these cells? Simply write equal to $0.01 and it will give you 50,000 like this. All the formulas as well, I'm writing at the top so that you can keep a check on that. Okay. The next thing I want to do is to see if my value is above the baseline or not. So is it greater than the baseline? Right. Now, clearly bookcases is not greater than the baseline, but chairs is greater than the furnishings is greater than the baseline. So that's where I want to demarcate. So I want a 0 here. I want a 0 here, but I want 85704 here. That's the logic, right? It's a simple formula. We will say equal to if my sales is greater than or equal to the baseline value, then I want to show the sales value. Otherwise, I want to show a 0 value like this. Right? Very simple formula. Let me write that here. Right. So obviously, when the baseline changes, so if you make it 25,000, what will happen? All the categories over 25 will be shown. If I make it 80,000, then you can see that there are only 5 that are, or 6 that are greater than 80. If I make it 90,000, there are only 3 of them that are greater than 90. Okay? So this is my control cell. So I can choose the baseline as per my wishes and the result will change. Right? Just do these two, then we do one more after this.
So here, what's the reason for introducing column D? Can't we take the O1 into the formula?
We could, but the thing is that the baseline also has to appear in my chart, right? So that means that after I make my chart, I would like to show the baseline. That's the reason we have to include it in columns, in column D. If we did not want this line, the horizontal line, then we could have selected it directly from O1.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Right. Okay, and the final formula is my top n values. What that means is that, just give me a moment. I want to say how many top n do we want to see. So maybe I just want to see my top 3 values. So very simple formula. We will say that if my sales value, right, if the rank for the sales value, so if the rank of C4 in all these values is in the top 3, that means it is less than equal to 3, then the result should be that I want to see the sales value. Otherwise, I want to see a 0 like this. Let me again show you the formula. This is slightly longer, but nothing very difficult. So you can look at this. Which means that if you select 1, only the top value is highlighted. If you select 10, all the top 10 are highlighted.
So can you repeat the last part once?
There's nothing to repeat. This is the formula that I've written. And what we are doing is we are saying that out of the 17 subcategories that we have, we are only interested in looking at the top subcategory. That's why I've written 1 here. If I make it 3, then it shows me the top 3. Take your time, think about it. If you still have any question.
Sir, can't we create a formula so that the values come up, like rank 1 value should be this, rank 2 value this, in a single line? Like this is showing null values in column also. I want to get only the values of top 5.
Can you make it blank, bro?
But there is a space in between.
What space is there? There's no space in between this.
Like there is a space between the F8 and F10. Like I want a list of 5 rows only in 1 column comprising of top 5 values.
That is a different question. I will explain that to you separately. Let's not mix it up with this one. If you just want to see the top 5 values, what you can do is, let me show you. This is something different, okay? You asked me, that's why I'm showing you. If you want to see the top 5 values here, you will say equal to large. And then you will say in a curly bracket, right? You will have to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like this. This is what you were saying, right?
Yes, sir.
And then you can do a transpose. But this will not work on Excel desktop. You will have to do this on Excel online. This is a new feature. So this curly bracket is one of the more advanced topics in Excel. It's an array formula that we are creating. So we're essentially telling it that we don't just want the largest value. We want the first and the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth largest value, like that. Right.
Sir, could you please copy the formula in chat?
Sure. This has been covered in my dynamic arrays course as well, but sure, if you want to have a look at it, you can.
So by doing this rank function, we will get the top 3 rank value, right? We are not getting the rank of it, like 1, 2, and 3.
We are right, but see, I said that if I only do rank, for example, if I just said rank, if I did not do the if, what would be the result? The result would have been the rank, right? But then the rank is not what we were interested in. I wanted to use the rank for another end objective. The objective was to take out the value for only the top 3 ranks. That's why we wrote the if after that. Makes sense, right? So the rank is being calculated. This part is actually calculating the rank for you from 1 to 17. Cool. Anything else? So this was the hard part to build all the formulas. Now comes the fun part where we can create a visualization, right? So we have 4 columns with us. We have sales, the baseline, the values higher than the baseline, and the top n values, right? In this case, the top 3 values. So what we would like to do now is to select the entire data. everyone, all the 5 columns. And you will see why we put in so much effort into this. Select all the 5 columns, go to insert chart, right? And just select the first chart that you see. Everyone, just select the first chart that you see. Now, can somebody explain to me what are these 4 colors? There is a blue and an orange and a gray and a yellow. What do they mean? Let's take an example. Why does appliances have all the 4 colors? What does that signify?
So these are the 4 columns, like what are the sale, what do we set the baseline?
That means that appliances, the value is shown. It is showing me the baseline. Appliances value is higher than the baseline, and it is in the top end value as well. Does it make sense? If you look at appliances, let me just move it here. You notice that appliances is actually in the top 3 as well. It is higher than the baseline as well, right? But if you look at furnishings, furnishings is higher than the baseline. So if you look at furnishings here, it is higher than the baseline, but that yellow color is missing. Why? Because it is not in the top 3 values. So it makes a little bit of sense. The only question is, it looks very funny. Like, why do we have 4 columns? The only thing left for us to do is to overlap all these columns, right? So what we want to do is, first we will change the colors. The sales value, the original sales value, I'm going to color it. So right click, fill, and we will change it to a neutral color. I'll make it gray color. Then I have my baseline. My baseline could be any color. I'll keep a red color. Then for my higher than baseline, I want to keep a yellow color. And for my top values, I will keep a green color. Right. Please do this, everyone. One by one, right click and change the color for all the 4 colors. Gray is your neutral default color. Red is your baseline. The yellow is higher than baseline, and the green is the top end values. There are no shortcuts for this. All of this you will have to do manually. Right? Just 2 more steps left. Right now, the baseline is that red color, which is coming as different columns. That doesn't make sense. I would like to have the baseline as a line. It's a line, right? It's not supposed to be columns. Also, the gray and the yellow and the green have to be overlapped with each other. Let's do it one by one. So I will right click and change the chart type. Right click and change the chart type. And in our combo, just one thing we have to change. We will say that everything is okay. Only my baseline should not be a column. It should be a line. Everything else should be a column and a column and a column like this. Right? So the gray one is a column, sales value. The yellow one is a column higher than baseline. And the green one is a column, which is my sales value, which is my top end value. Only the baseline should be a line. This is the second last step. After this, we have the final step. After that, we'll recap it, whatever you got confused with and whatever got left out. So these 3 are column, only the baseline is a line. And the final step is taking better shape now. The final step is I have to overlap all the 3 columns. So we can simply double click and say that the overlap should be 100%. Now just see how cool this is. I don't think I need to explain this to you. What it is doing is, if we reduce the gap width also, what this tells me, everyone, is that, okay, what is my baseline? If I keep my baseline at 0, then everything is yellow colored. And if I keep my top end as 0, everything is yellow. This means this is my sales value. But I say, okay, can you tell me how many of these did more than 10 and less than 10? If I change it to 10, you can see that there were 2 that did not do more than 10. If I make it 50, I can see that, okay, there is a demarcation point. The gray ones are the ones that are doing less than 50, and the yellow ones are the ones who are doing more than 50. On top of this, if you also want to highlight the top 2 or the top 3 values, you just put a number here, right? And I can highlight that. I mean, who would have thought that these type of things are possible on Excel, right? So don't just memorize the steps. I don't think there's anything to memorize here. You have to understand what we are doing. Take your time, go through it, and tell me if it makes sense. Otherwise, I'll help you with it.
Sir, after changing the chart type, sir, we have kept the baseline as a line 1 and the remaining is the clustered column type,
Clustered
right?
column. Correct. So let me just show that to you once again. So all the other 3 are clustered column. Only baseline is a line.
Yes, sir. But still, how it is showing in one, that I'm not able to get.
Because we did an overlap. So I double click on the column and I change my series overlap to 100%. If you don't do the overlap, then the 3 column will come separately, right? Like this.
Okay, sir.
But the moment you do an overlap, all these 3 columns will come one on top of the other, like this. So tell me something. There is a green color column in fasteners. Where is the yellow colored column for fasteners? Guys, it is behind it. It's not that the value isn't there. Do you understand how smartly we are doing this? We are actually not, a lot of people look at the chart and they say, oh, this is very cool. You are conditionally coloring the column. I'm not coloring the column or changing the color. All I'm doing is I'm literally hiding the other 2 columns behind it. The fasteners also has 2 other columns in it. There is a yellow and a gray, but I can't see that because it is being overlapped by the green one. Right?
So after doing the overlap, I am getting 3 green.
Say that again.
Yeah, got it. So,
okay, all right. Sorry.
Yes, sir, got it, sir.
Great. Any other question? Anyone? Other border as well. And see, this is just a template that I'm giving you, just to open up your mind to possibilities of how Excel charts can be made dynamic as well, right? Anything else that you can think of if you would like me to add another layer to this, right? Maybe just let me know. I'll do that.
Sir, how you increase the width of bars?
Yeah, we can't increase the width of the bar, but we can reduce the gap.
If we can do some transparent type of thing.
I actually can't do that because think about it. If I make the green color translucent, then I will actually be able to see the other column behind it, right? Because we know there is a yellow column behind it. So in this case, doing that probably is not a good idea.
So does this functionality also exist in Mac Excel?
I have absolutely no idea whether it works or not, because I'm a Windows guy. So yeah, would not be able to answer that. I think it should be there, series overlap and gap, especially with Satya Nadella coming in after that. Mac and Apple and Windows, Apple and Microsoft have played very well together. So
Sorry,
I don't,
not the, oh, sorry. Not the series overlap. I meant the step 4, which was data, selecting the data and opening the, when you change the baseline into a line, that one.
oh, you mean the change chart type and all?
Yeah.
I would like to say yes, but then I don't know.
I'm not able to find it. That's why. Maybe I'll
Can you
just.
share, can you share your screen? Let's see.
So it's
Yeah.
working. Actually, we have to choose every single column for it and change
One
it.
by one, right? Yeah. That is how Excel used to be like years back. And oh, also your version of Mac might not be the latest, right? So I'm sure the 365 version of Excel on the Mac probably would be at par, right?
Okay. So just
what
select all of them and then right click, or?
You can select all of them, just select any one of them.
All right.
When you click on change chart type, what do you see? Combo, go to combo. Okay. Oh, so you can't really, okay, got it. Right. I don't know, somebody said what you did, right? Yeah.
So actually, we'll
It
need
is here, no? Series overlap is here. Oh, you were asking about the trend line, not the overlap.
Yeah, I was talking about the trend line because I'm not able to
So
convert.
just change that. Just right click on the red one. Right click, change chart type, and change it to a line. That's it.
Oh, okay.
First one, the very first one. Right. That's all.
All right.
Right.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Right. Anything else on this? Anyone? Okay. Let me just see what else is it that I would like to cover. Hold on. Have you all done flash fill in your Excel training?
No, sir.
Okay, then we should do that. Let's come to 001. You can do it on your local Excel as well. No need for Excel online for this. Right? 001. Okay. So last topic of the day. Please come to the second sheet and tell me what we are trying to do here.
We have to just split the actual data given to different columns.
Correct. So the data that has been given to us is this is a very classic problem. So when you download data from Salesforce, I don't have any of you worked on Salesforce earlier in any of your previous organization. Okay. Anyway,
Yes, sir.
so if you work on Salesforce or any other CRM, Microsoft Dynamics, it's very common for these fields to come properly. There is nothing wrong here. Okay. There is a delimiter. That delimiter is my underscore here. But the problem is that everything has been bunched together. And from an analysis point of view, I want to separate these three things. So I want to separate my shipping mode, my customer ID, and my name. So tell me, how do I separate the shipping mode?
By using left function.
That's one way. But then it's going to get quite complex, right? Because from left, I don't know the number of characters. So I'll have to find the position of the underscore and all of that. So I would like all of you to do this with me. Please write first class. Do exactly what I'm doing. Just write first class and then press Control E. Right? I'm just removing a few of these so that I can write some steps here. So we give one example and then we press Control E. Are all of you getting the result? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What about the Mac users here?
I'm not. It's just changing the alignment of the.
Yeah, so can you just check on the data tab if you have an option called flash fill somewhere in data, somewhere here in data tools, if you have something called flash fill. At least on Windows is the one with the Harry Potter scar on it, this one. I think this was there on the
Give me a
Mac.
second.
1 second.
Yes, sir, we have it.
It's working for us, sir.
Yeah.
On the Mac?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But then why is it not working for some of you, and why is it working for some of you? It says Control E. Okay, not Command E. Okay, Control E.
Got it. Yes.
Excellent. In a way, this is a very loose analogy, but in a way, this is a little bit like machine learning in the sense that if any of you have worked on ML earlier, we have a train and a test data, right? Like if you do linear regression or any other form, K-means, the idea here is that you are giving a sample. So this is my sample here, right? And on the basis of that sample, I am able to get all the other results. What that means is that if my sample changes, if I say, you know what, not first class, I just want F dot class. What will happen? It is smart enough to understand that that is the same pattern that I want to extract. See, it's not a vanilla extraction. A vanilla extraction means, oh, there was something, you just took out a part from that. No. You're actually able to teach it what you want, right? So for example, if I said class dash 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 first for some reason, it doesn't work perfectly. You notice that the first one is coming, the second one is not coming perfectly. So even in machine learning, what do? You have to give it more samples, right? So the moment I give it one more sample, right? And it's strange, why is it not working? Hold on. It's very peculiar. Doesn't matter. Let me just try with one other sample. Anyway, it doesn't seem to work. That's all right. You can figure that out later. So if I say class underscore first, if I'm reversing the position of the two words, that works as well, right? It's very smart to handle combinations that you want to give it. Right? Any questions so far? Okay, what about the ID? Can we get the ID as well? So we write AB1001514002. Just see if it is working for everyone.
In case of ID, sir, it's not working.
In
ship mode, it's fine. That flash fill is working.
Which one is not working?
Sir, in ID column.
In the ID. ID should work. Just make sure that you're given exactly the same.
It's working, sir.
It's working, sir.
So it is working.
The one after this will not work, but this one should work.
One after.
So, sir, we have to enter the data then in first state. Then after that, we have to do flash fill.
Give one sample and then press Ctrl V. Correct.
Okay, sir, done.
Okay, can you do this with the column E as well? We only want the first 4 numbers. Can you tell me if it is working or not?
Yes, sir.
So actually, it's giving, so for some of the row, it is giving 3 digits, and for some row, it is giving more than 4.
Exactly. And can you explain that to me? Why is it that some of them are only coming as 3 characters, some of them are coming as 7 characters? Why is that non-uniformity there?
Sir, because we are not starting by 1.
I'll give you the short answer. No, it's not 1. All the numbers are starting, I mean, some of them are starting with 1, right? Like here it is 162, It's very hard to explain that, right? How Excel is thinking behind the scene, we don't know. But what we do know is that we can give it another sample. So when the problem is complex, we have to give it one more sample, and now it understands better. Because see, the moment I press Control E, I'm not happy with the result. So I have to somehow explain to Excel that, you know what, I'm not happy. I want to teach you that this is not 162, it should be 1621. And the moment you do that, it refreshes the entire result and you get the answer. Right? So this is where you are able to teach the system. You're not just, see, it's not binary that, okay, either I will get the answer or I will not get the answer. If you don't get the answer, then you can always teach it by a few more samples and it will understand better. Right? So when the problem is more complex, give more samples.
So Gautam, this side.
Yeah.
Like we have a student council meeting by starting from 9:30 today. If you
So
can.
we'll have to, okay, sure, no problem. We still have a couple of things left. That's okay. We are in no rush. That's the advantage of having a multi-day workshop. So we will pause at this point, right? I will be uploading the files and the recording in about an hour, so you'll be able to access that. And then let's catch up at 7:30 tomorrow, right?
Thanks a lot, sir.
All right. Bye, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Do join the student council meet ASAP. Those are in clubs.